There are three types of horses at Cheltenham. There are those who should win, there are those you want to win, and then there are those who you would love to see win. Now the first group, easy to quantify. John Bomb, Galloping de Champs. The second group are almost always ones you've backed, or if you're particularly lucky, that you own. But the third ones, they're a bit harder to pin down. Logic might not make sense, but for some reason, emotion just takes over. And like Kevin Keegan 28 years ago,
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Here are my 5 horses at this year's Cheltenham Festival who fit in to that third category. The Stayers Hurdle is a strange beast and is often won by one as well. The unexposed fresh types like Penhill, the battle-hardened warriors whose best days are seemingly behind them, like Sire de Burleigh. Is it the hold-up horses, Paisley Park, the front runners, Florian Porter? It takes all sorts. But there's something to be said for a horse that turns up time and time again and gives it a right old go. Tiapu, we've only seen once this winter. Lucky Place, home by the lead twice each. That's 5 times on a racecourse over the course of the past few months. Gowel Road has run 5 times on his own. Every single one of them have been at Cheltenham. In fact, he's only the second horse this century to turn up at the festival, having run at every single Cheltenham meeting on the lead up to the big day. He's tougher than a New Yorker crossword. He's more consistent than concrete. He's run to an RPR of 145 on his last 4 starts. The day Gowel Road doesn't turn up and run his race is the day that hell freezes over. I'd love to see it for his owners as well, whose biggest horse and best success previous to Gowel Road was Ballyandy in the Champion Bumper, and he won that and then never won again over obstacles. Plus there's the relatively rare joy these days of seeing Nigel Twiston-Davies with a winner on the big stage. Of course we've had Bristol de Mai and Imperial Commander over the years, but there's something to be said for Nigel, who seemingly just turns up year in, year out and does a cracking job, somewhat unheralded. Look, it might not be realistic, in fact it's a bit of a romantic pipe dream. This is his 4th visit to the festival and it's unlikely he will beat some of the more unexposed horses. But hey, who said romance was dead? Oh, and the other horse who turned up at every Cheltenham meeting and then went to the festival? It was Cool Cody, who won the plate in 2022. These, of course, are my 5 horses. What are yours? Comment below. And what I'd also love to see is you like and subscribe to this channel. Consistency in Gowel Road's case is an admirable trait, but it can also be a bit of a double-edged sword. Mr. Coffey's a great example. He's just as consistent as Gowel Road, but for some reason he gets constantly roasted for not winning. Look, I'm just saying, maybe it's time we give Mr. Coffey a break. He won his first start ever hurdles in a 2-mile novice at Newbury in 2019. A year later, Gowel Road turned up in that same race and finished 4th. They both ended the 2021 jump season rated 137 over hurdles, but since then their careers have taken, let's be honest, slightly different paths. Gowel Road has stuck to the smaller obstacles. Mr. Coffey has gone over fences with mixed results. His first run was an absolute cracker, a handicap chase at Newbury off 138, and he was beaten into 3rd with plenty of promise to come. 3 years later, his latest run of 140 in the cross-country chase suggests that his consistency has also been tempered with a lack of improvement. 15 runs over fences, and he still hasn't won. But if you filter out his form, he's often given it his best shot, and let's be honest, he turns up in some of the biggest races. He's finished 2nd 8 times. He's been placed on both his runs at the Cheltenham Festival. He's even finished 8th in a Grand National, and his jumping is often full of beans, but he lacks that instant acceleration that the best horses have, and he just seems to take a little bit too long to come to the boil. It might well feel that if you've been following him, it's been a little bit of a grind up until now, but it does feel cruel to mock at him. Especially as lately he seems to have warmed to those cross-country fences. Maybe the quirkiness of Mr. Coffey and the quirkiness of the cross-country course is a match made in heaven. And put it this way, if he was to win that race at the festival this year, there would not be a dry eye in the house. It would certainly bring a cafetiere to mind. But still, puns and jokes aside, Mr. Coffey, I'd love to see it. And speaking of careers taking separate paths, Mr. Coffey back in 2022 was 2nd in a Grade 1 novice chase at Sandown. Back in 3rd was recent Ascot Chase winner Pic D'Orhy, and the winner that day was Presse. Now, there are a few trainers in the game at the moment that evoke stronger feelings with staying chasers than Venetia Williams. And it's not just staying chasers. She could train a goat to win crufts at this point, but she has made her name with similar types, whether it's recent recruits like Jello or the horse that really put her on the map, Teton Mill. And because of the way she trains, horses can pull out seemingly monumental performances at ages where they quite simply should be on the downgrade. But the care and the patience that goes in to their day-to-day training regime means that horses like Royal Pagaille can come back and run to 171 at Haydock this season when quite simply he should be on the downgrade as a 10-year-old. So why can't Presse do the same thing? With Grey Dawning ruled out, there's a possibility that to escape an Irish domination, Presse might be the only British horse in the lineup, and certainly the only British horse in the lineup with a hope in hell of going close to winning it. He's got the bonus of a fantastic record at Cheltenham as well. He's a proper course horse. 3 wins, 1 fourth. That fourth was in last year's Cheltenham Gold Cup, and he ran a bit of a cracker. Some people will point to the nature of those wins. He made heavy weather beating Stage Star when receiving weight in the Cotswold Chase, but what I liked was the way that he ate up every inch of that hill to mark himself off as a proper Pressbury Park professional. He loves the place, and he's fresher this year too. He's run a Stormer on his seasonal debut in the King George, and then he won the Cotswold Chase, and even though he had that rather strange performance and also, let's be honest, strange decision to send him to Ascot, he still comes here a slightly fresher, slightly more promising horse than when he ran a big race last year. We need to bear in mind that he was still in front at the second fence from home, and he'd been in front since the 12th fence as well, and he was struck into earlier on. So look, a lot went wrong. He did too much. Things didn't work out for him, and apart from Galopin de Champs, the 2 horses who finished in front of him on that occasion will not be running in this year's race. It would take a monumental performance to beat the defending champ, but my God, you'd love to see it. If Brighterdaysahead turns up at Cheltenham on day 1, my feelings will be entirely dictated by the clock. And look, I'm a speed figure man, but that's not what I mean. What I mean is will she be pacing round at the start at 3:19 or 3:59? Because if it's 3:19, I couldn't care less. Connections have taken the easy route, albeit entirely understandably, and they've gone for the mare's hurdle. But if it's 3:59, it means I'm brimming with excitement because they're doing what they should be doing. They're doing what's right, and they're taking a pot shot at the champion hurdle. Yes, a grade 1 is a grade 1, and the sensible, rational decision is to skip this year's champion hurdle. But I'm not talking about rational. I'm talking about love here. I would love to see it. Love isn't rational. Love isn't sensible. Love is brave, and it drives you to do daft, stupid things in the pursuit of betterment and future glory. And that's what going for the champion hurdle this year would be like. Not only that, but whisper it quietly, she could well be the best mare we've seen at Cheltenham in modern times. Look, her last win rates are higher than Epatante, than Any Power, than Quavega, and it puts her on a par with Honeysuckle when she won the champion hurdle, and when Honeysuckle won it, she beat Sharjah and Epatante. What number would Brighterdaysahead achieve if she turned up and pipped Constitution Hill, Lossiemouth and State Man? Sensible, rational decisions do not go down in sporting history, and I would love to see her go to Cheltenham and take in the champion hurdle. And I hope they do, because this time, if they go with their heart, it's also going with their head. East India Dock, if we're honest, is cheating a bit because he falls into all 3 categories. He should be winning. I want him to win because I backed him, and I would also absolutely love to see him win for a variety of reasons. His Wincanton win was good. His first Cheltenham win was very good. His second Cheltenham win was eye-poppingly good. I know he's raced 12 times, including flat races over the last 12 months, and he might look exposed, but Pentland Hills had 10 runs in that same time. Our Corner had 9, Countrywide Flame 13 runs, Goshen 6, Far Class 6. If you're a flat recruit to the hurdling ranks, you need to be battle-hardened to win the Triumph. And of course, especially as the last few years, the race has tended to go to classy French recruits. But that's partly because the quality of the flat horses has certainly declined. Nürburgring last year, he was the best flat recruit over hurdles in the Triumph. He'd run to an RPR of 130 on his best start over obstacles, and he finished 4th. The year before, ascending, best run of 127, and he finished 5th. The best example is probably Pied Piper, who was the best of the flat recruits recently, and he won the same race that East India Dock did and ran to 141. East India Dock ran to an RPR of 143, and he did it without even being shown the whip. It would also be a cracking birthday present for Bill Gredley, who quite frankly deserves a big day in the sun for campaigning these horses who he could have sold abroad over hurdles this season. I'd also love to see James Owen cap a fantastic year as well. This year he's won group races on the flat, he's won graded races over jumps, he's run apparently 4,000 horses on the all-weather over the winter, and I think he's won with 50% of them. This man could train Adrian Childs to win the Great North Run, and then you come to the jockey as well. Sam Twiston-Davies, he's 32, he's in the prime of his career, he's had a great season, but he's only had one win at the festival in the past decade. We've got a different trainer, we've got a different jockey, we've got a different owner, we've got a beautiful pedigree as well, a comprehensive campaign without a single piece of cotton wool in sight. And wouldn't that say to people that maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't take all of our 3-year-olds from the flat rated 90 plus, sell them for 250 grand abroad and see them squander their career in Australia, never to be heard of again. Maybe, just maybe, we should send a few over hurdles and give the National Hunt game a bit of a kick up the arse that it needs. They're my 5 then. I'd love to see them win. They're not tips. I don't necessarily think they are all going to win, but I'd just love to see it. I'd love to see it. Let's get a bit of variety. Let's get some challenge. Let's get some bravery back on the track, and let's enjoy this year's Cheltenham Festival with a few different names on the roll call.